Hi, my name's Josh Sherr. I'm the one of the writers on Uncharted 4 at Naughty Dog.
So what were your goals heading into this fourth installment?
Really, one thing we're trying to do is kind of wrap up the story of Nathan Drake. And so one of the things that we wanted to do is sort of like wrap up some of the storylines and sort of bring closure to some of the concepts that we introduced earlier in the games. And also to bring out facets of the character that we haven't necessarily seen in the previous games. And the way that we're doing that this time around, we have Drake is kind of settled down from the crazy treasure hunting life that he's been in for the last 3 games. He's married to Elena. They have sort of what amounts to a normal life for them. But then Drake's brother, who he thought was dead for the past 15 years, mysteriously comes back into his life, and through means we haven't revealed yet, sort of like draw him back into the chase. And so we're going to be sort of exploring what that means for Drake's character and really what that means for his relationships, not only with his mentor Sullivan, but also his new relationship with his brother and with Elena.
Can you talk a little about some of the different environments that you guys are featuring in Uncharted 4?
Sure. So one of the things that we always like to do with the Uncharted games is to bring the players into all these different exotic environments, right? So at the PSX demo, we showed a lush island covered with dense jungle and high cliffs. And we're sort of like showcasing our exploration and climbing gameplay along with some of the gunplay that we have here. And this time around, we're looking at a dense city in Madagascar. So we're sort of showing like our action both in sort of a quiet, more exotic environment and a more dense urban population as well. And there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that we haven't revealed yet, but that's one thing we like to do, hop back and forth between like jungles, ancient ruins, and modern day cities, and what we can do in each of those worlds.
What has Next Gen opened up for you guys when it comes to building these types of elaborate worlds and chase sequences and gameplay?
Well, I mean, the most obvious reason is that we can add a lot more detail to the environments. But really, one thing that we're trying to do in this game is try to open up the environments a little bit more. Uncharted is the way we design the games. We like to call it wide linear. We like to funnel the player through a particular experience, but we try to give them a lot of choice in that area as possible. And we're sort of continuing that going into Uncharted 4. So one of the things in the truck chase sequence that we just showed at E3 is, while we are taking a particular route through the city streets, the fact is while you're trying to get down the hill to get the SAM, there are multiple routes that you can take with like multiple things that can happen to you on your way down. And the player has full choice and full control of the Jeep at that point. So there's no you're not on rails, it's not being guided, the player is in full control. And that's actually one of the other things that we have done that we haven't done before, which is that we have fully drivable vehicles in an Uncharted game. And obviously the chase is one aspect of it, but you're going to be seeing it used in other places as well.
Chase is pretty amazing, especially when he's kind of hanging there by the, I don't know what, a cable or whatever, but can you talk about how much interactivity you guys have added to those types of amazing sequences?
Oh, well, I mean, one thing we always like to do is any like spectacular set piece, we always want to have the players on the stick, which is to say we want them to be in control at all times. And one of the things about the rope is that is a regular mechanic in the rest of the game. If you saw the PSX demo, there's all these times where he's like using the rope to cross crevasses, or in one case swing and like land and punch down into guys. So it's part of the core gameplay mechanics that we're weaving in. So what we're trying to do is also work our new mechanic with the rope into all these different set pieces. So obviously, in the particular case of the demo, when he gets to the edge of that, when they get to the end of that roadway, if you don't throw the rope up and snag the truck, you are going to go into the water. But once you're on it, you're able to sort of like slide back and forth to a certain extent. And as you saw in the extended demo, you're going to be able to shoot from it. You're going to be able to climb up it and use it to get to the truck. So it's interactive. It's not like a canned sequence that plays exactly the same way every single time.
Can you talk a little about the banter that goes on between these brothers? Because it really does add another element and a lot of humor to the sequences you guys showed today.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we always love doing in the Uncharted games is to have banter between Drake and the NPCs that he's exploring the world with. It makes it come alive, allows us to sort of like explore their characters a little bit more, besides just in the non-interactive cinematics, right? But the interesting thing about this is like, most of the time you've been seeing Drake with like his friends, or Elena, his girlfriend then wife, and Sullivan as mentor, but now we're actually seeing his brother. So because the brother is a brand new character and because he has kind of a mysterious past that we need to reveal to the player, all the time that you're with him in the game is going to be our opportunity to sort of explore a relationship between the two brothers and sort of like let that come to the forefront.
What's it like having Nolan North and Troy Baker, who you'd worked with in the past on separate games, together in one place?
It's pretty amazing. You know, they really know how to play off each other, and you know, there's sort of this imagined quote-unquote rivalry between the two of them, but the fact of the matter is you know, they have a lot of mutual respect for each other, and they're both really at the top of their games. So when we're able to put the two of them together, you know, we've gotten some fantastic work out of them. One of the things that we do oftentimes is, you know, we will write scripts for our cinematics. We'll write scripts for the in-game sequences, and we'll have them do all the stuff that we write. But oftentimes we'll also give them a chance to sort of just like riff off each other and see what they can come up with on their own. And oftentimes some of that will make it into the game as well. So it's this really collaborative process. And you know, we always just, whatever is the best work is what we'll use.
You guys have been innovators in performance capture as well. How do you feel this game is pushing things forward from everything you've learned over the years?
Well, one of the things that we're doing on this game that we hadn't done in previous games is that we are exploring spatial capture. All the previous games, the faces were animated by hand. And part of the reason for that is that when we were doing the first Uncharted and even the earlier games, face capture technology really wasn't where it needed to be for us to want to use it. Like, too much work for not a good enough result. Now it's gotten to the point where the face capture work provides this really nice base layer for the animators to really dig in and add all this incredible fine detail. It's never been a case for us where we just take the face capture, drop it in, and call it done. There's always like more work to be done to really polish it up. But the nice thing is that the face capture gives us something to start with, so we can spend that much more time on the fine detail. And what's really important is that, you know, in this generation, the detail in the face is so much greater than it was before that, you know, if it doesn't look right, it's gonna take the player out of the experience and like make it seem like, well, what am I watching? So the more time we have to polish, the better. So the face capture gives us a good leg up.
And you guys also are revealing a little bit more about what they're searching for in this game. Can you talk a little about that?
Right. Well, so what they're looking for, as we've discussed in the past, is they are looking for the lost treasure of Henry Avery, who was a fairly notorious pirate back in his day. He's not as well known as, like, say, Blackbeard and some of the others, but the fact is he got away with the largest haul in history from a single fleet and then just vanished without a trace. Nobody knows exactly what happened to him, so we're using that as kind of the jumping off point for the story. And one of the other things that they mentioned in the scene in the demo is Libertalia, which was this mythical pirate colony somewhere far off the coast of Madagascar that was set up as a sort of a pirate utopia, a sort of libertarian socialist area where like all men were created equal, and they pooled all their treasure together and shared resources. And so we're using that as sort of like the destination that they want to get to, where the treasure has been hidden.
What are the challenges of trying to one-up what you've already done in past games when you're sitting down to write something like this?
One of the challenges is obviously not to repeat ourselves. You know, we've always trying to find new and exciting ways to do things. But really the challenge is not only to show people something that they haven't shown before, but what we're really trying to do this game is to make sure all the set pieces are based on our core mechanics of shooting, climbing, running, or you know, new case driving, the rope stuff, rather than it sort of being like a special case one-off thing that you never see again. It's more just like, how can we use the core mechanics to really draw the player into these like completely insane moments. But in terms of like topping ourselves everywhere else from a story standpoint, you know, we're really trying to dig even deeper into Nathan Drake's like emotional core, and because we're bringing his brother in, we're going to be seeing a side to him that we haven't necessarily seen before. So, and conflict between characters such as Elena that we haven't necessarily seen before. In between the games, like, you know, in between Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2, something happened. They had kind of a falling out, but then they sort of end up getting back together. But this time, you know, because Elena plays a part in the game, you'll actually be seeing her reaction to Drake's reintroduction into the treasure life.